Let's go, baby. Let's go. That's how you get it done. That is how you win a big series. Whew. What a weekend for New York Mets fans as the Mets take 4 of 5 against division rivals, the Atlanta Braves, who were biting at the neck. They were 3.5 games back. And the Mets, well, they win 4 out of 5 and push it to 6.5 games now. And next up, they got the Cincinnati Reds. So, a chance to even further this lead. And boy, oh boy, was this a fantastic weekend. I was able to go to one of the games. I went to the day game of the doubleheader yesterday with Petey on the mound, who pitched spectacularly. But we'll start with today's game. And today's game was the return of Jacob deGrom to Citi Field. And oh my God, did he live up to it. I mean, 5 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs, 1 hit, and that was his outing. But that does not tell you the entire story of this game, because it was one of the most dominant, just amazing performances to watch for a 5 2/3 innings, because it was spectacular. He was throwing fastballs 102 at a guy's neck, and then to Austin Riley, a 96-mile-an-hour slider. Are you kidding me? Like, I think the average fastball in baseball is 94, 95, and you're giving this guy a 96-mile-an-hour slider? That's disgusting. Oh, my God. And just the location, the dominance, until the 9-hitter in the 5th inning, Adrianza, nobody, not a single person, touched his slider. Not once. They went, I think it was 0 for 12, I believe, at the time. Something like that. The Atlanta batter swung 12 times at his slider and missed all 12 times. Before that batter, I think he hit foul ball in one of them. But his final line of 5 2/3, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, and 12 Ks in 5 2/3 innings. It was just so dominant. He started to die off a bit at the end, and then Dansby got a nice home run off of him. It wasn't a bad pitch, but it wasn't like a spectacular pitch. It was good players hit great make great plays, and Dansby's a great player, and he went out and got it. But that does not take away from the performance of Jacob deGrom, and going into the future, knowing that you have him and Max Scherzer, because oh my God, was Max Scherzer dialed in last night? When you have we'll start with the day game though. When you have David Peterson, he was fantastic. David Peterson, he went 5 1/3. I thought he could have went a little longer, but Buck decided to pull him, which it wasn't that big a deal, but it is what it is. You pull him, but you still got great pitching from the bullpen. And Seth Lugo went an inning in the 3rd, allowed 2 earned runs, which wasn't great, but he got through the rest of that inning. Ottavino comes in and shuts the door to help get Lugo out of a jam. Yohan Lopez, that was terrible. Giving up 3 earned runs in a 1/3 of an inning. Forced you to bring in Diaz, and he, of course, shuts the door with the and I was at this game, so and Peterson was great. I mean, he had a little bit of trouble, was able to get out of jams, really settled down a bit later in the game, and it is just the kind of guy that you're going to be able to add to the bullpen. And it's going to make a big difference as a long reliever. Him and Trevor Williams, and when McGill comes back, you're going to, especially in the playoffs, you're going to have dudes that if Walker or Bassett or Carrasco struggle, but you don't got to leave them in a little bit, because you will have guys that, hey, go pitch 3 innings, go take their place, go save this game. So if they give up 2 or 3, or they give up 2 earned runs and they got 2 guys on, and he just doesn't have it, one of those guys, you can pull him and find somebody else who will be able to get the job done, which is big. But because you had to use Diaz in this game, and by the way, before we go to the game 2 with Mad Max, yeah, I mean, great performance. Lindor was spectacular in that game. 3 of 4. It was so close to a home run, like twice he almost got a home run. One hit the double that just missed, and then another one later in the game. Pete was had an RBI to start out the game. He went 1 for 4. He was like 2 inches from a home run. You had great play all around. Vogelbach with a hit, Ruff with a hit. The only person who didn't have a hit that game was Canna and Naquin, and then Canna came in for him, so each had 2 at bats. They didn't get a hit, but everybody else, McCann even got a 4-pitch walk. Which, listen, Jake Odorizzi was not good that game for the Atlanta Braves, but you're not good when you're giving James McCann a 4-pitch walk. James McCann! This dude's trash! Ben 182! He's terrible. He's terrible. Like, Nito is, I think, far better than him now. I think Nito has to be your number 1 catcher going into the playoffs and stuff like that. So, I think he's better defensively, because McCann has not been good defensively as well, letting a lot of pass balls go by him. So, not big on McCann, but he did get a big hit. 4-pitch walk, so providing a bit. Mets offense was really going, 8 runs. But with Diaz being used half-forced because Yohan Lopez, trash, absolute trash. Just get hitting ropes off him. Max Scherzer knows, hey, I don't got that many bullpen arms for my game. I gotta go long. And you're going up against Max Fried. And he did not disappoint one bit. He went 7 innings, 108 pitches, got to that 11 Ks, and had some very, very big moments. What later in the game, just getting better and better in the 7th. Striking out Rosario, striking out Contreras, and striking out Ozuna to strike out the side. All 3 of them, and then in the 6th. Gets another 1, 2, 3. So when he was starting to wind down, he was just getting started. He was phenomenal. Had that dog mentality. It was just getting guys out left and right. Your offense in that game, Pete Alonso only had 1 hit in the first game, but he had 3 hits in the second game. Really turned it on. Lindor went 1 for 3, but Pete was your big guy in this game, really. I thought Nito was spectacular, with an RBI, a sack, a squeeze play. He had a squeeze play. I mean, that's something that you hate to see in MLB The Show when you're going up against it, and you don't really think of it in a real game, but Nito did it. It was spectacular. Scored Naquin. I mean, that is winning plays. Those are winning baseball. And then it'd be crazy. I mean, not to talk about the Guillorme play, where 1st and 3rd. I believe it was 1 out or no outs. 1 out. I believe it was 1 out. No outs, actually. No outs. And he gets the ball. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make a play at second. He just guns it home. Gets Darno out at the plate to save a run. And Scherzer, after the game, was like, "What are you throwing home for?" Then he's like, "Yeah!" I mean, that was a spectacular play, and you talk about Guillorme's glove all the time. We talk about how he's a Gold Glove caliber player with the glove that he has. His glove is phenomenal, but I think you forget what kind of arm this guy has. It's spectacular. It's absolutely. I mean, he threw a cannon to home plate, and like I said, Pete with the hit. Pete got a little had a play at home that they call it was overturned, which was controversial. But I think they said people thought he got his toe in. That might have been the possibility, but I think I saw after the game that it was more Darno was blocking the plate, so that's why I think they called him safe more likely. But overall, I mean, the effort in this game, and you just saw the energy when Pete was called safe. He comes out of the dugout. It's like, yeah, and you know what? It's got me going, yeah, because that's what big guys do. They fire you up. They get you on your feet, and that's the kind of player Pete Alonso and Max Scherzer are. They are dogs. They get your blood boiling. They get you excited. They get you just going. And that was that type of game. Scherzer was able to go 7 innings. And then Michael Givens struggled a bit, but was able to close the door. Definitely had me a little nervous there, but I think him starting to get a couple more outings in New York, I think he's starting to settle down a bit, especially in big-time moments. And Trevor May could be a huge difference maker. He did give up the one home run, but Trevor May can be such a big difference maker in this bullpen because you need another kind of setup guy. I've talked about it with Ottavino, and if Smith can come back and from the injured list and regain that first 2 months form, Ottavino can continue to be who he is. You can get a Trevor May who's very solid. You have 3 guys that you can, hey, one of you guys close when Diaz can't, or one of you guys will set up for the other, one of you sets up for Diaz, and you can rotate that, and you have a nice kind of, you have Diaz, and you have like the rest of the A tier bullpen who can really work in those late innings when there's high situation moments. And then you'll have your B tier relievers in a Givens, in a Joely, in a bunch of I'm not whatever it be, Medina, because Medina could have played today, or somebody like that. Those are the guys that you can rely on the B tier side. But oh my God, it was fantastic. And then we'll go back even farther to the loss. The Mets end up losing the second game of the series 9-6, and Taijuan Walker did not have it. 8 earned runs in 2 innings, and I'm not taking too much out of it. Some people are like, this is why you can't trust Walker. He doesn't come up in big moments, and I disagree on that. You could tell after he caught a spike in the first inning on the second batter, and he hurt his hip a bit. He just didn't have the command. He didn't have velo. It looked like it was bothering him. I think he's going to be okay, but he didn't have the stuff, and with the injury, it was not bad. It was putrid. It was horrible. 8 earned runs in 2 innings is atrocious. But I think you could pass that over. He's been so solid for you of late. I don't think this is going to be what happened last year with the second half. I just think it was just a bad a start as you can get. And just everything went wrong for him. And the sigh, the velo, the stuff, it just all compiled. So I'm not taking too much into that. I will say the Mets battled back after being down 8-0. And really, tried to make this a game. And they did. It ended up being 9-6. And they made it a close game. I was threatening not to watch. I was close. But I'm like, you never know. And they kept you in the game. They kept you entertained. And this team just always fights. I continue to say, they got that dog in them. They don't care what the score is. They're coming for your neck. They're coming for your throat. They're coming to win. That's the team you want as well. And in the first game, it was a great performance overall from the Mets. Ended up winning that game by a final score of 6-4 in a tight game. Carlos Carrasco wasn't amazing. He was very solid, actually. Going 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Only gave up in the 5th, really. Had that single to Harris. And then Acuna really started to get hot in this series. Didn't play the last game because he was scared of deGrom. But Carrasco with a very solid performance. Unfortunately got dinged up a bit in that 5th. But got you through 4 very solid innings, and just Acuna. That really, hopefully that doesn't spark him too much, having stopping his longest home run drought in his career. I think it was 70-something at bats. But kept you in the game. You still led 5-3 at that point. And then the next inning, Tyler Naquin comes in. He gets a big homer. This was a huge game for Tyler Naquin. His first game at Citi Field, he hits 2 bombs, and Pete Alonso also had a home run with Frankie Lindor scoring, but overall, one of the biggest things, I know people are going to complain still about Billy Ilper not addressing the pen enough, but you want to say that, I get that, but you cannot tell me this offense he did not do enough, because he did. The DH spot has been fan-friggin-tastic, with now Vogelbach and Ruff both playing very well. I think the OPS is over 1,000 for your DH spot in the past. Let's look at that. The past, I believe, 7. You look at the past 7 days, I believe. Can I do that? No, I cannot. All right, past 7 days for Vogelbach. Vogelbach has a OPS over 1,000. Ruff has an OPS of 788 with a 333 average, though. And then Naquin, who may not be playing that DH spot, but kind of rotating with Canna, he's hitting 421 with a 1316 OPS. So even though you're doing kind of this platoon rotation, you didn't get the big fish. They're still, when you put them in the situation where they're best to succeed, they are killing it, these guys. And I feel like this is what the Braves did last year with a Duvall, with a Jock Peterson, and a Soler, and a Rosario. That's what they kind of did. And I think that's what you're getting here. It's gonna work because you're not. They don't have all the pressure on them. They're not the big star. They're in their own unique spot. They're given positions to best succeed, where they're facing their strong pitcher, whether it be lefty righty or righty lefty, and they're killing it. And it shows you what a big a difference this makes. And the only reason they're being put in that situation, because I know Pete Alonso gets a lot of love, but he maybe not enough. Him and Francisco Lindor doesn't get enough love. We'll talk about him in a second. But Pete Alonso, after the All-Star break, has been on fire. One of the best players in baseball. I'm glad I have some MVP stock in him, because if he continues this way, watch out. I think he has to be the MVP watch. I don't think I think Goldschmidt's still obviously favorite, but he has to be in that conversation, especially. So the last 15 days for him, considering post All-Star break, he's hitting 396 with a 484 on base with a 774 slugging for a 1257 OPS. Unreal. Unfriggin' real numbers. Those are numbers you dream of. Past 7 days, he's got an OPS of 1178. In August, he's got an OPS of 1209. He's just been killing it post All-Star break. Some people say, oh, the home run derby breaks your swing. Maybe it fixed his swing. Just got him going right again. I think that kind of break really helped him just kind of refocus, and he's been absolutely killing it. And Francisco Lindor, you can make the argument Francisco Lindor is the top 3 shortstop in baseball right now. I think Turner and Bogarts are the top 2, and I don't think there's too much of an argument. But between him, Dansby, and Seager, I think you can argue any way, which way between those 3. But those are the top 5 shortstops in baseball, and you can argue Lindor's number 3. He's been just as hot as Pete has been, and he just does. People call him overrated still. People are saying the Mets lost a trade with the Indians or Guardians, but they were the Indians at the time. He's been electric in the last 30 days. He has an OPS of 1041 with an average of 354. In August, he has a 1092 OPS, which has only been 7 days, but that's okay. The past 15 days, he has an OPS of 1192. This guy has been killing it the last 15 days. He has a average of 423 with a 500 on base. The past 15 days, half the time gets up, he's getting on base. Those are some of the best players not even the best players in the league do that. That's Juan Soto levels. That's franchise levels numbers, and that's what you're paying him to be. Granted, you're paying him to do this kind of stuff, but he just doesn't get enough love at all in the national media. I know Mets fans know how good he is, but he needs more love in the national media. And overall, from this series, your biggest takeaways are this rotation's with deGrom back and how dominant he's going to be, especially when he can go 100 pitches, 7-8 innings. Him, Scherzer, and you got Bassett, Carrasco, and Walker is easily, I think, the best rotation in baseball, and nobody's going to want to face you with deGrom and Scherzer, because it's got me sweating already. And this lineup is going to be okay. This lineup is going to rake, especially with Lindor and Pete. These guys are some of the best, and I just love watching them. And I am more confident than ever that we are going to win this division. It's definitely not over. You still got to play Atlanta a bunch of times. You got to play Philly, but there's no reason we should not win this division. I'll say that. There's no reason we should not win this division. The way we are playing, the way this team is set up, how can you not love it? Let me know in the comments what you thought about this series. How hyped are you? Are you if you were not on the hype train, are you on the hype train now? Are you still not convinced about this team for postseason or division winning? You can let me know in the comments or on Twitter. Twitter will be in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the other side.